That's it. We're live. Hello, Nikola.
Hi, Ben. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you going?
Yeah, all good. Thanks.
Thanks for joining, first of all, of course. It's much appreciated.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
my pleasure.
That's wonderful. I hope that maybe slightly too loud intro music woke you up there. Kind of was a bit of a blast to me as well, to be honest, but
Yeah.
fantastic. If you hear an annoying noise in the background, I will state this is because I have a 3D printer going and I refuse to switch it off because it's been going for 7.5 hours and I refuse to switch it off for the past 10 minutes of the print. But yes, really happy to be here. Happy to be back after that one cancelled week because of Corona annoyingness. So yeah, let's get started. Nicola, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and all that kind of stuff? That is the standard intro.
Yes. Okay. Sure. So my name is Nikola Ilic. I'm originally from Belgrade in Serbia, but I live in really fun, wonderful, beautiful city of Salzburg in Austria for last almost 6 years,
Cool.
and so I feel like a real Salzburger already. And that's why I chosen this nickname, Data Mozart. You probably saw on all the
I just twigged, all right?
yeah. So it doesn't have anything with classic music because people often ask me why Data Mozart. Are you a fan of classic music? No, not really. Honestly, yeah. But so when I was thinking to start blogging, I was trying to find some authentic name. I mean, Mozart is not so authentic, but in data world it is.
I think Data Mozart is pretty authentic. It's quite original. It works pretty well.
Yeah, in data world, yeah,
Yeah.
probably. If I were in music stuff, probably not. Yeah,
No,
but
wouldn't work.
yeah, because here in Salzburg, everything is in sign of Mozart, and I was like, yeah, okay, then let it be
Yeah.
data Mozart.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm doing stuff with mostly with Power BI in last more than 4 years, but I would say I'm accidental Power BI guy. So
That happens quite a lot, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
you
that's
just fall into it, right?
that's true. So basically, because I'm coming from relational databases world,
Hmm.
so I used to work a lot with this traditional Microsoft BI stack, so SQL Server,
Hmm. Sure.
reporting services, integration services, analysis services, nice cubes and stuff like this.
Hmm.
And then, like, I don't know, almost 5 years ago, it was 2017.
Hmm.
So in my company back then introduced Power BI report server uh, for reporting purposes, and then no one from our team wanted to start to play around with it. And it was like, 2 or 3 months. It was just, yeah, living
Hmm.
without anything.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, yeah, so I started work with Power BI, and then in the beginning it was like, yeah, one report per month.
Hmm.
And then after a while I switched to working almost exclusively now with Power BI. So yeah,
And the other colleagues kind of followed in your footsteps, and you slowly convinced them to move across, and that kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
quite the usual story that we get with Power. Someone has to make that initial step, whether it's a reluctant first step or someone saying, "Ah, this looks really cool. I'll try that out," and then other people, and then loving it so much that they kind of force it on the rest of the department and then company is
exactly,
the
exactly.
standout rollout phases for Power BI.
Yeah, exactly. So the similar story with me. So one colleague from customer support department, she used to prepare some quarterly reports for the management, and
Mm,
she needed to pull the data from uh, 7 or 8 different places, build everything in Excel half manually.
mm,
So she asked me for help, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let's try this with Power BI." And then it was, try and fail in the beginning,
sure.
but yeah, after a while, yeah, we built a really comprehensive report that she literally had in few clicks everything that she needed for this quarterly report. And then from there we proceed building another reports. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's the story in short.
I think when I first studied in Power BI, I actually simultaneously had to learn how to use Access because I'd never ever used it before. And there was a couple of divisions of the company I was working for who were using Access as their database. And there was a situation where it was, kind of reaching capacity. And every month we had to kind of look to see what we could do in Access to stop everything breaking and not taking like eight hours to refresh or
Yeah,
whatever Access does.
yeah,
I didn't want to learn Access. I had to. And
yeah.
then I've since forgotten everything I knew about it.
I
But I
learned it
think,
in college, so we were using
okay,
Access in college, for this light stuff. It's
okay.
okay, but to learn SQL and syntax and everything, but for the
Yeah. For the practicality, it's,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
not the
it was
best.
nice back then, but
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Yeah. It's had its day, right?
yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. And so basically now you're a almost full-fledged 100% Power BI person, basically. Cool.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And I'd like to speak a little bit about, well, actually, probably a lot about the Power BI Fest. I got to say, I'm just diving straight into Power BI Fest because I honestly think it was like, for me, like one of the highlights of 2021 with Power BI. I watched as much of it as I could, and it was great because a lot of it was like having my breakfast and watching some Power BI Fest, and I'm doing the dishes and putting it there. That was, I gotta say, like fantastic stuff. Like so well organized and so many good speakers over what was it like 48 hours? Was it 2 days?
No, it was 24 hours.
Was it
Yeah, first
24?
of all, thanks for your kind words. Yeah, really
That's amazing.
appreciate it. Yeah, it was 24 hours without the break. I think we had maybe one break of 1 hour
Okay.
during the lunchtime here in Europe, but yeah, more or less we ran for 24 hours in 3 to 6 tracks in parallel, depending on the time zones and the number of speakers from specific time zone. Yeah, yeah. Uh, the idea
Where
was,
did that come from? I'm just curious. What was the story there? Just guide us through it because it's such a
yeah,
cool thing.
yeah, sure, sure. I glad to do that. So somewhere in beginning of summer,
Mm,
Adriano da Silva, my friend and the guy who runs South Florida Power BI user group,
mm,
he contacted me and asked if I want to join him and then try to organize a Power BI event. And then we started speaking, included some other people also, of course, Kai, Augustine, Depti. There were. I sorry if I forgot someone. So there were, let's say, 6 or 7 of us,
Mm.
and the idea was from the beginning to build an event that will be kind of different from the other conferences. So
Yeah.
we agreed to be as diversified as possible, not just in terms of speakers, things like gender, but
Mm.
try to cover all parts of the planet. So we want to give opportunity to speakers from Africa, from Asia.
Yeah.
You don't hear them so much
No.
on a regular basis, so it's mostly us from Europe or US
No.
folks, and we wanted to include everyone. Australia is fantastic, has fantastic Power BI community. So we
Mm.
also wanted to dedicate a specific time slot for people from Australia to speak and from
Mm.
people from Australia to hear uh, those speakers. So
Nice.
basically, it started beginning of summer, and we contacted directly. I would say 90% of speakers were directly invited to join us, and I'm really happy that we have a community like this because most of them, almost all of them,
Mm.
I would say everyone who was available on this date accepted to
Mm.
join us, including people from Microsoft, including some really top experts from community. Like I don't want to separate someone, but
I
let's say
understand.
Marco
Yeah.
and Alberto, Melissa, and
Mm.
many more really great stuff from all the speakers. But from my perspective, we did a few mistakes. Uh, in our defense, I think,
You're so hard on yourself, mate.
yeah, no, because it was the first time that we organized event
Grateful
like
about
this.
that. Very
Yeah,
grateful.
and I think we learned from our mistakes. Hopefully, uh, no, it was a hard time at the moment because it was peak of corona
Mm.
here in Europe, and a lot of guys and a lot of ladies and guys that agreed to help us to moderate some sessions
Mm.
got sick or something like this, some health issues, of course, which is understandable,
Of course.
and
Yeah.
we didn't have a proper backup, so we had some technical issues, and that's in my opinion the biggest room for improvement for the
Sure. I mean,
next
I know
one.
what you're referring to. There's times when a couple of sessions started late. There wasn't anyone that moderate. But I think anyone who knew what you were setting out to achieve and did achieve, um, completely understood that, right? I mean, they know. I mean, even if you've never organized something like that before, like me watching, I'm watching this event, thinking, how did they actually manage to pull
No,
this
don't
off?
ask me. Don't
Like
ask me.
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah, it's
won't.
completely different because I used to present, to be a presenter at
Yeah,
different conferences, but it's completely different when you are organizing things.
yeah.
So it happened. I can share this with you, of course, and all the other folks because I know 90% of people. I saw the messages. I know them. So, uh, for example, in the morning of Central European time, we
Mm.
had 6 tracks in parallel, and there were only 2 of us moderating. So I was moderating 4 tracks in parallel, and just listening 4 different voices at the same time. It's
Yeah.
you don't want to experience this. Trust me. So, yeah, really. Uh, yeah, but of course, people were, yeah. I mean, they understood the situation, and yeah,
Exactly.
hopefully, yeah.
But going back to what you said before about what you wanted to do, of like bringing people together from different regions, speakers who perhaps hadn't spoken or hadn't spoken at such events, or that's one of the things I appreciate most about it. And it wasn't just the fact that you had certain speakers; it's the fact it when they're all under the umbrella of one event. I think it has multiple effects. One of them is to give certain people perhaps more exposure because they're speaking at a same event that someone who is perhaps has a higher profile within the community, you know,
Exactly.
and then you
There are
put and
certain people
it's
that I want. Sorry for interrupting you. There are
no
certain
always
people that I want to mention
of course.
because I know how good they are and
Mm,
what is their level of
mm,
knowledge and skills. And but they are not so exposed
yeah,
as presenters. They are
mm,
well known in some other parts of community. For example,
mm,
Owen was your guest, I think,
yeah.
a few months ago. DEX
Owen's a
expert. If you
legend.
ask me, top 10 DEX experts in the world,
Yeah,
but you can't find him presenting. So uh,
It's true.
I personally I'd like him to present, and I call him, and he of
Yeah,
course I'm glad that he accepted. Also, Mimun,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
also, yeah, very
Hey,
familiar
Bennett.
person from social networks, and
True.
yeah, yeah. So that was the idea, to include people that we know are good, but maybe
Mm,
some other guys don't know it for them, and
exactly.
to give them a chance to expose you.
It's funny you mentioned Owen. It's just because one of the he's one of the. I think that's the only chat I've had where it's gotten really technical because he can and he's good at it, and people just are asking questions about Dax and stuff. And I'm like, afterwards, I apologized and said, okay, because I always say, I think I forgot to say it to you, but I always say, yeah, don't worry about it. It's really informal. We just talk about like really stuff, and there'll be nothing difficult for you to really go through. And at the end, he's like really like talking in Dax and like solving issues and stuff. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, it's fine. It's like, how do
Yeah,
you do that? But yeah, so I'm just basically in a long way agreeing with what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah, he's the number one. Someone mentioned this before, but he's the number one expert who's not an MVP. Because someone
that's
had said it
probably true. Yeah,
before
yeah,
and
yeah,
asked, does he not work for Microsoft? But he doesn't work for Microsoft at all.
yeah.
He's just an
He's
absolute
just a
DAX
community
encyclopedia.
champion. Yeah, really, really,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
I found so many answers and solutions to my issues, to my challenges on community forums by Owen. So
yeah.
he's a real community hero. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've seen him speaking at one other event, which was also. Oh, no, no, it's not true. Actually, I was going to, but I got cancelled until this year. So what are you gonna do?
Okay.
But yeah, basically going back to your Power BI fest, it was great. It was just again, it was just nice to kind of always have something there, always something going on. So I could just quickly close if my kids. I mean, it was a Saturday. Yeah, it was a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So I had to be nice and not to
Not
forget
disturb
to.
Papa.
Oh, no, not no, no. Me to forget to not to pay attention to the kids that set because the weekends are always like family time. But I was like, oh, this Saturday I'm gonna get a lot of Power BI and stuff done here. And I was watching. I was like, okay, I'll close it and I'll play some Lego and stuff, and I'll come back to it. It'll still be there later. So it was great and really just be able to have this schedule to be able to pick and choose. And obviously, yeah, like it happens at events anyway. But when it's just on your laptop, it was wonderful. I loved it. One of the benefits of okay, maybe benefits of Corona is a wrong way of putting it, but you know what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
benefits of the increase in distance events, which is
Exactly,
really
exactly.
quite
I
cool.
mean, there are certain positives from all these situations, all this situation, and unfortunately, one of these positives is that we can attend basically sessions every day somewhere
Yeah,
and listen to people that we couldn't listen uh, before COVID. And I try to get this as a positive thing from all this
yeah.
stuff.
I know. So in my emails now, I get like notifications from like the Vancouver user group because I'm just part of them now because I can. Sign up for this one, sign up for that one, and spoke at something in Melbourne. It's fantastic, really.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm just thinking of this someone said there should be a DAX Olympics, which I thought was quite a cool comment. I'm just thinking now, like if there was a DAX Olympics, which person would excel in which events? It's going through my head now.
yeah. But
If you,
what Benny
if
said, Denmark did their World Championship of Power BI. I think it was a few months ago.
I didn't see that,
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting, and it would be cool to run it globally. Yeah,
that's very cool.
yeah.
Thinking of Denmark, there's which conference is being held at Legoland this
Power
year?
BI next step.
I want to go with that. I mean, I want to go to Legoland anyway because I'm an overgrown child. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's in September. I think 19th,
that's right.
20th, something like this. And yeah, it would be nice to go.
I said I would try to go to one event this year, and Denmark's not too far away, just a short flight.
Yeah,
So
from you it's even closer. Yeah, from
yeah,
me, I looked yesterday. It's around 1,200 kilometers, so it's uh,
mm.
not so easy to drive. But yeah, with plane probably. Yeah,
I mean, you could fly to Berlin, and we could do like a little mini road trip together if you want, mate.
yeah, that's
This is
also
an
cool.
option,
Cool idea. Well, yeah, why not?
right?
Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's talk
drive
about this. Yeah, yeah,
exactly, fun. You got a bit of planes, trains, and automobiles going on, you know.
yeah, yeah.
End up in Legoland, fantastic. Any journey that ends up in Legoland, there's got to be a good journey, right?
Yeah, I mean, who cares about Power BI then?
Yeah, good point. I'm focusing purely on Legoland at this point, not mentioning
Yeah.
okay, at all.
Or maybe they should organize a challenge like build a dashboard with Lego.
Right. When you when you're whiteboarding your ideas, instead of whiteboarding it or a blackboard, whatever, just use Lego instead to build.
Yeah, yeah,
They must have some really cool Lego data sets. There has to be. I think Will Thompson, he has a report based on Lego, I believe. So yeah,
yeah,
maybe he'll get himself over there as well. That'd be quite
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Amazing stuff with Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's
Excuse me.
talk about September. Yeah, I think we still have enough time, and hopefully
Yeah.
this pandemic will be at
Yeah.
least close to over
Well,
until
it'll
then.
be it'll be September, so maybe by that point it'll be in a lull, not a peak. It'll be before another peak, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
last year in September, Power BI Next Step was also first edition was in September 2021,
okay.
and it was something in mid-September. So I was in Croatia for Data Saturday a weekend before
Mm,
Power BI Next Step,
okay.
and I talked with Ashgir Gunnarsson. He is one of the organizers. He was also in Croatia, so we spoke, and he told me that basically Denmark got already in last September already great results with fighting with pandemic, and they enabled
Okay.
all this stuff like concerts and going to go to close spaces, everything. Yeah, of course with masks and everything else, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it was functioning already in September last year. So hopefully it will be better.
Fingers
Hopefully,
crossed. Fingers.
yeah.
I'm gonna pull up this comment because I have and James Dale's use of icon map on a Legoland theme. I have not seen that. If
No,
anyone has a link, that would be awesome.
yeah.
I would love to see that because it's Lego and it's Power BI, so it's like the perfect
Give us a
combination.
link, Rishi.
Yeah, that would be fun. If someone has a link, please post it and I can click on it later. Phenomenal stuff. I was just watching your channel, by the way, before we started, um, and I was watching your video on query folding, because query folding, I think, is an interesting. Do you know why? It's because it's one of those things that come up when people talk about query folding, and what I
It's
really, yeah,
Mhm.
please go.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
It's one of those things that as people come, but I really enjoy your video because it explains like what query folding actually is as well, and also what it impacts. I think there's so much. It's one of those things that there's so much discussion about, but it always starts at perhaps at too high level. So I love the way your video was really quite explanatory about what it is and what it prevents and how you can stop it. It's a really cool thing. So nice video, nice channel as well, by the way. So
Thanks,
I'll
thanks.
keep
Yeah, I
watching all
started
of that.
that. Yeah, but don't know how to proceed. Honestly, maybe we will talk after this
Yeah,
conversation to give you for you to give me some advices and tips how to
I'm
proceed.
I'm not at the best about proceeding with. I mean, I fall squarely in this category of people who wish they could make more videos because it's like it's always if I really sit down and I'll focus, I can make like one a week. No, I'm like making maximum. And you know what? I was going through all my videos about a month ago, and I noticed that like I think it was like in April or May last year. I made like 5 videos. I'm like, how did I do that? How did I manage to do 5 videos in
Who's
one
that
month?
guy?
That's
Who's that guy? I want to meet him.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. I
Yeah.
also started with a lot of enthusiasm, but it's hard because I didn't think to start YouTube channel. Honestly,
Mm,
blogging is my stuff, so I
yeah.
prefer blogging. But then a lot of people approached me and asked, "Can you do the video for this? It's easier for us, to understand. To if you want to, if you can explain it, stuff like this."
Mm,
So I was thinking that I can do it, and I started, as I said, every 3 or 4 days I was recording videos, and then simply some other things went my way, and I
usually
couldn't
kids or
post
something.
anything, yeah, for few months, and I was busy with some other things, creating some courses for Plural Site, and there were
Mm,
3 or 4 of them. It's really exhausting process, and
mm,
yeah, because I was also recording for them. I was sick of camera and everything, so I decided to put this on hold. But regarding query folding, yeah, that's one of my favorite things in Power BI. I always quote Ben Watt. He's also fellow MVP and the guy who runs Dublin Power BI user group.
mm,
I took this one from him. So he calls query folding unsung hero of Power BI. It's so important, it's so powerful, but a
mm.
lot of people are not aware. So
Yeah.
I have a session on this, and I try to every time I try to increase the awareness and then
Yeah,
to emphasize the importance of query folding concept. It's really one of the most powerful features in Power BI,
absolutely.
in my opinion.
Yeah. No, and I think it was one of those things that became more mentioned at some point. I don't know why. It became a topic that came up a few times. So I honestly I had no idea what it was. I haven't heard about it until this it came up. It was maybe for me, I don't know, 6 months ago. I'm just picking up a time frame, but you know what I mean. And yeah, I didn't actually, however, know what would prevent query folding until I saw your video about 15 minutes ago. Because
Yeah,
I'd never bothered myself to really like work. I was like, okay, so I understand and roughly what the concept is, but you had the video say, okay, this is going to prevent it. I was like, okay, so I think I'm good because yeah, okay,
yeah, but maybe I mean this is so this is live. How to say this changes over time.
yeah,
They permanently improve this feature. And for example, like a year ago, if you wanted to merge columns in Power Query, that would break query folding. And
okay,
then after few months, because I had a session on this, and I that was one of my demos, how
okay,
to watch out, not to do merging stuff and like this. But few months after that, uh, guys from Microsoft implemented the solution for this, and now merging columns will not break query folding. So
nice,
things are changing, things are moving,
of
so
course,
you
yeah,
need to follow every time. And when people ask me if this transformation will break query folding, I don't know. I can tell you for sure for some of them, but you need to test and to check. So
yeah,
because maybe if I tell you that it will break query folding today, if someone watches this video in 3 months, he will
of
say,
course.
yeah, that's not true. This doesn't break query folding. So
This is the nature of an evolving tool like Power BI. There are so many
exactly,
things that you can say one week and the next week there's an update and like, oh, there you go. That's redundant information. And sometimes you hope that's the case. Sometimes you make a video and you think, oh, you do a blog post or whatever, you produce some form of content, and you also hope that by the time you finish the blog post, it's been updated because it's horrific that you need some form of workaround, all that type of stuff. So I pulled up a question before, then I took it off again. Any plan on a detailed article on streaming data while query folding?
yeah. Hi, Christian. I need to contact you after that. I forgot. Yeah, yeah. we were talking. Yeah. Okay.
That's more of a pointed question. Is I get you. Yeah.
Any plan on detailed article streaming data while query folding? That can be interesting, yeah, of course, but not at the moment. So currently, when it comes to blogging, I'm working with Tom Martens on this data modeling series of articles. That's for the
Nice.
moment. But if I find time, I definitely like to do a blog post on this.
One thing that frustrates me that hasn't been updated, or maybe there's a very good reason that I'm not aware that hasn't been and it can't be updated, is when you're using a dynamic web source and you publish the report, you can't refresh the report in in the workspace. A published report with this dynamic web source. You have to do this little change to the code in M in order for get that to work. And I don't know why that is, has been. It's such a strange thing to me that you can create a parameter on a query that is somehow can't be read on a published report. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's really frustrating to me.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have much experience with using web sources,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I can't help you. But
No, no, it's
I can,
it wasn't so much as a request for help, more
yeah,
like
more like
venting a
like
frustration.
a
Like, why
complaint. Yeah,
not?
more
Yeah,
like a complaint. Yeah, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I can feel your pain. I mean, whenever you need to fix something manually, go back, and that's frustrating. Whatever it is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's nice because again, it got me a reason to do a video of how to do a workaround for that. But I just never fully understood it. But I'm sure there's a very good reason that's well beyond my level of comprehension on such things. I've just thought right now, talking about my beyond my level of comprehension, I haven't used the new tabular editor yet. Tabular editor 2 point whatever it is.
Yeah,
It got released today, and I've downloaded it, but I haven't had a chance to. Have you used it yet? Is it cool? It
yeah,
looks amazing.
yeah. I've used tabulator 2.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, since I think 204 or 205 version, and then I switched to tabulator 3 last year. I think it
Okay.
was released somewhere in May or June.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So
There,
it
there was
is it is paid product now,
yeah.
but
No,
I
no, just because
think it's
there was a big update today that had the
today
lots of
for Dex debugger. Yeah, but
right. Exactly.
I wanted just to say that it's
Oh, sorry.
well worth money and for buying a license, and strongly recommended to everyone who works seriously with Power BI. So
Yeah.
starting with some improvements in things that will speed up your regular things, like simple stuff
Mm.
like creating a bunch of measures in one script. So
Yeah.
starting with this to some advanced concepts like Dex debugger or something like similar to this, and creating macros and stuff like that.
Mm.
It's amazing tool, and yeah,
Yeah.
strongly recommended.
Quickly just jump between two topics here. Yes, I used the relative path thing regarding the thing I was just talking about with
For
the
web.
for web exactly. Use relative path and it works fantastically. I just don't understand why you have to, and it's not a perfect solution, but it works pretty well. So yes, it works. Um, Jeff, it's a licensing thing, mate, but aren't data flows somewhat new? And this issue has existed for a long time before I heard people talking about data flows. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but I just know it frustrates me. TE3 is a very good investment. I have to agree. I held out far too long to use Tablet Editor, and what happened was I was developing a report or two reports that were going on for too long, so I wasn't doing anything new. So I thought next time I start a new report, I'm going to go Tablet Editor, and it's going to be I'll see what all this fuss is about. But what's the difference? What's it going to make? I do my measures here, I do my
Yeah,
measures there. Measures are measures, right?
yeah,
And then I opened it and I kind of understood. Then I became more aware of Bernard's work, and it was like this, it's like
yeah.
shining light of awesomeness.
If it's just simple task, create me 15 measures with sum, nothing else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just like this, the tabular editor is worth.
It's yeah. It's I mean,
I,
at
I,
any grade, the licensing fee. I mean, for a single user only connecting to a Power BI data set, it's what like $80 a year or something, €80 a
something
year.
like this. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
but
I
yeah,
mean,
it's well worth. It's well worth.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it would
I
just
see
the
one
time it
good
saves.
question. Sorry for interrupting you. I see one
Always intro.
good question from Rishi. Is there a performance difference between query folding? That went. Yeah. Thanks. And writing SQL yourself as a native query. In theory, it shouldn't be, but in reality, it can happen very often. Why? Because uh, with query folding, so then Mashup Engine creates SQL for you. And if you go to this view native query, you can see the SQL code that will be executed on the database side. That's correct SQL. That's the most important thing. That's correct SQL. So you will get results that you want, but it's not always the optimal one. So for someone that's coming from SQL world, you can write more optimal code to retrieve the same result set. But the thing is that if you write your native query, uh, you will break query folding. So there are some exceptions, but this is I still like to think about this, that when you write native SQL, query folding is broken. That's the main downside of this approach. But yeah, in
Interesting.
reality, you can write more optimal SQL than Mashup Engine automatically generates for you.
Very interesting. Did not know that. I'm being so educated right now. Good question, Rishi. Thank you very much for
Good
that.
question, Rishi. Yeah.
And I don't know what Bernard's talking about. The DLL thing is awesome. I'll trust him. I'm sure it is awesome. If Bernard says awesome, I'm never ever going to disagree with that.
I trust Bernard always, whatever he says.
Always,
Yeah.
exactly. He'll have a cool blog post. He'll use these cool smiley faces that you get and Snagit, which always make me happy. And
And he's from Barcelona, so enough for me.
Dim D is from Barcelona. That's a good point. And you're a Barca fan. That's a good point. Also fantastic. So, wow, there you go. It's all come together. I won't mention football. I don't want to upset you too much. I mean, it's okay. I support Sunderland, which are a terrible team. Sunderland are such a bad football team that we even have a Netflix documentary about how bad we became. I mean, that's top
Oh,
tier
really?
bad. That is top tier. I can recommend it. It's called Sunderland Till I Die. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, we got relegated twice in 2 seasons. It was really good. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah. I mean, I follow football more or less on a regular
Yeah,
basis, and I know that they were hanging between Championship and Premier League, and now they are in League One or something like this. But in 2 years, yeah, I remember the yeah,
strong moment.
yeah.
Article from Chris Webber. You wrote enable.
Exactly. That's
Wow.
this exception that I mentioned. So in some circumstances, you can use this. I think this is the argument of the function where you explicitly specify value and enable folding value equals true. So that works for some of the data sources, not for all, and
Hmm.
quite it's quite awkward. You need
Yeah.
to do manual things in M, which sometimes is not so
No.
straightforward for the regular users. That's why I told that native query will, in 99% of cases, will break query folding, and it's better to think like that.
I have Chris Webb on in a few weeks, and maybe I could do like a whole previously on Connect Live, and then like show this, and then
Awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
Sure. I'm big fan of Chris and his blog, and
yeah.
whenever people approach me to where do I start, where do I learn Power BI, his blog is one of the five resources that I recommend to everyone.
One of the resources which I always think is fantastic, but I think it's overlooked in the whole top five best blogs. Formu. I
Yeah,
love.
Gilbert. Yeah.
Yeah, Gilbert Formu. Awesome. There's something about that blog. I think I don't know what it is. I think honestly, I even think it's the font. I think it's one of those things that my brain just kind of like reads it and can take it in. I think somehow maybe, I mean, he's obviously better and knows more, but somehow maybe our brains may work on the same level of understanding when things are worded.
Same
Because,
wavelength.
yeah, and like because even includes the screenshots at the correct point.
Hmm.
Like it's just I understand. It is called carries like formu. Did I pronounce it incorrectly? Formu. It is correct. It's called right.
Yeah,
Gilbert
Formu.
Formu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Also, a great name, by the way. Where'd that
Yeah,
come
and
from?
this nice cow. It's so
Yeah.
yeah, it's authentic. Yeah.
I'm going to ask him all these questions when I speak to him. Formu. It's a fantastic blog. Really,
Yeah,
it's very cool.
yeah.
And there's some of the. Do you know those things that you don't learn because you know the source is just there. You just keep going back to the article. I forget
Hmm.
which one it is now, but every time I have to, I think it's like on Dynamic Top N or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
Every time I have to do it, I'm like, okay, back at this blog post. I'll understand it for half an hour, and then I'll forget it all again. And I'll go back at that blog post and I'll do the same thing over and over again.
Put it in favorites, and then you don't
Yeah,
need to worry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Very cool stuff. But no, it's really cool. I tend to learn more from videos, I think. But for blogs, that's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah,
Gilbert's form.
yeah. It's interesting that point that you mentioned that some people easier learning from blogs, some learning from videos. So that's really interesting because when I talk to people and some of them will tell me exactly like you, that was the reason why I started to create
Hmm.
videos just because of that. But then, yeah, a lot of people still prefer blogs.
Yeah, and then you spread yourself too thin though, because for me, I think it's something I've probably said like a million times. So I apologize for repeating myself. But it's like what you enjoy, right? Like if I thought to myself, oh, some people like, and I did at some point think, oh, maybe I'll do it because some people like blogs, some people like videos, but if you're a person who likes doing blogs but you derive no pleasure from making the videos, it just sucks, right? It's not going to be any fun for you.
Absolutely,
It's just, and I think
absolutely.
when I started this whole Power BI guy thing, I started with a blog and I did like 2 entries and they were both massively terrible. And I was like, I'm not doing that like ever again because it's just
Okay,
bad.
yeah. Same for me, but in the opposite direction. Yeah, we can join. You do videos and I do blog posts, and yeah,
Power BI Mozart guy.
yeah,
Oh, fantastic. Put together, what's that? This sounds quite cool. Put together Ilic and kind of just make sure. Quizzes is a good idea.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
always quite nice.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I
And I
haven't.
know Rishi has a great site, Learn Data Insights. Rishi, please correct me if I'm wrong. For learning Power BI and other tools and then technologies also, but for Power BI. And I remember when I was preparing for DA 100 a long time ago, uh, his website was one of the resources that I used mostly. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I'll check it out for sure. I might know it already. I'll definitely check it out. One second, Jeff. Jeff, I learned from painful experiences. That is actually that's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fully
yeah,
yeah. Learning
yeah,
from mistakes and things going terribly wrong.
yeah.
Like the mistake I learned from recently was always have a backup of your PBIX, because if it randomly corrupts and you can't open it ever again, and I mean, this happened to me, like, I think it never happened in 4 years of working with Power BI, and then it happened with maybe like twice in the space of 4 months, and I tried every single trick, but the PBIX was just broken, corrupted, couldn't be opened. If you publish the report, you're fine, right? If the report is published, fantastic. If it's in development and for some reason you haven't published it, which on one occasion I did do, because I'm an idiot, then what are you going to do? Yeah, so backups.
Yeah, yeah. Backups everywhere, everywhere and always. Yeah,
Terrible
yeah. With
stuff.
databases also same thing, same thing.
With databases, that's infinitely, I would say, more important to backup than a PBIX file. But yes, very true.
Trust me.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy ideas.
Delete table or drop table, even worse. Or drop
Yeah.
database. That's the worst case scenario.
I always like to scare my data engineers and my team and just tell them I'm going to go in and have a play around in prod to see what I can do. Just do some tests, Like some restore. It's like, yeah, I know
Yeah,
restore.
that's a good point from Benny.
Restores
Yeah,
are true.
restores are what matters. Yeah, yeah,
That is a good point. Actually, I could have just contacted IT and asked them to do a restore, but opening a ticket's such hard work. Oh man, fantastic. One second. So, are you planning on doing your Power BI Fest also 2022
we
in the
still didn't
works?
speak about this, to be honest.
Okay.
But yes, I guess we need to correct those mistakes we made in the first attempt. If you ask me, so we will definitely do it.
Okay.
If
Cool.
not for nothing else, just because of that. No, just
Just to
kidding, of course, just kidding,
yeah, yeah.
of course. It's again, our motivations are completely different, and as I explained, to include people from the whole planet, both in terms of speakers and attendees, to have like an event for not just US and Europe, and maybe Australia, which is also very active uh,
And New Zealand,
in our community. Yeah, yeah. When we say Australia, I think about New Zealand also.
that general
Uh,
area.
yeah, but yeah, but also Africa and Asia to have their presenters and attendees. That's the idea. So I
Yeah.
believe we will sit down maybe in a few months and yeah,
Fantastic.
set
And
things up.
suppose when you have a 24-hour period, it's easier because you can have someone from that region, that time zone, doing something at that time, which is quite
Yeah, yeah,
quite
yeah,
cool. Yeah. Oh, very nice. One second, I'll take a glass of water. I'm so dry. I'm
yeah.
still
I'm
quite
drinking a
I'm
tea,
still quite dehydrated after this whole Corona thing. I got to say, I was like out of it on Monday.
but you don't look so bad.
It's very kind of you to say. Thank you very much. I feel a lot better now. I felt terrible. I felt terrible at the start of the week. It was so bad. I was like, it's one of those things like when my wife was downstairs with the kids, because by that point she was better, and at some point during the day when the kids are running around the house and it gets a little bit loud, and my wife was starting to lose her temper a little bit and was like lying there on the bed just feeling bad, and then also feeling bad that I can't really help out. I was like, it's like just send one of the kids in to come and watch a cartoon with me or something. It's if you send a kid to watch a cartoon, it all calms down a little bit.
Yeah,
But no, it's
smart TVs are the best invention ever.
yeah. Also, when we got Google Home, whatever, so the kids can
Hmm.
just now start saying "Okay, Google," and it's just activated. I don't know why I said that, idiot. And asking it to play random songs or tell jokes.
Yeah,
I asked it to tell me a joke a few months ago just to see, and actually was quite funny, to be honest.
yeah. Or they can say Google Play Power BI Guy YouTube channel.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're the first subscribers, definitely, right? I remember I said to my daughter like a year ago, I was doing some work, home office. It's the first time she was seeing me work, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Do this and do that." And she's like, "This is Power BI and do this." It's like, "Look, is it cool?" I was like, "No." It's like,
Well,
"How dare you? How dare you say such a thing? It's very cool. You're wrong. You're grounded. Get out."
yeah,
Oh man, but yeah, it's going okay. We got five. I have 5 more days at home. My wife's not allowed to leave the house now, but I've got 5 more days at home. And also, I was thinking, yeah, okay, I'm quarantined. I'm kind of feeling okay, and I had a nice idea for a video, which I still have in my head. I'll record the video, but then I just started feeling crappy, so I didn't record. As always happens, I said before, something else got in the way, and I didn't record the video. So I was thinking, yes, I'll use this as a punitive productivity, and I didn't. In fact, the only thing I've done, really, other than trying my best to do my job, um, was I tried. I was like, I'm gonna get in Deneb, and I'm gonna try and make a map. I haven't made a map with Deneb yet, and I have absolutely failed to make a map with Deneb, failed terribly. So, Kerry, if you're still there, I might arrive in your DMs soon saying, how the hell does one create a map with Deneb? Please help me. I'm failing. And I don't like being defeated by things, but Deneb is currently kicking my ass.
Yeah,
Maybe the kids are going to be.
that's a great
Yeah.
one. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, never darken my door again. Tablet, yeah, exactly. And then we'll learn from each other. Fantastic. Yeah, tablet headmasters. Oh, very good. No, yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes though. But yeah, it's been a challenging week, but I'm kind of finished and feeling fresh now, and I'm an alive human again. And this is why this is and another thing. When I don't really open PBIX or work with Power BI for like a week, it feels like a month because I feel like I have to constantly keep looking at it to like keep up on what's new, and oh, there's this new article, and what new development is there being. So today, like when this Tabular Editor 3.2, whatever it was, came out, I was like, okay, cool. So now I have to dedicate some time to learn that so I can see what else is cool in there because
Yeah,
didn't
there are so many
did a pretty
resources
bad.
available now. It's hard to keep the pace. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Someone mentioned before, someone asked the question, like if I, on Twitter, was like saying, I'm just getting started. How can I learn Power BI? And I think that's the tough thing because there are so many resources. I mean, it's tough and it's good, right? There are so many resources you can send them to plethora of different places where they
yeah.
might learn from. But I do think I genuinely believe that the best way to do it is to just take data that you care about. In my case, it's football data, and then
Practice.
use it. Yeah, and then anytime you can't do something, just Google it, and then you'll find a source, and then you say, "Oh, that person explained it well, so this is how I discovered Formula." For example, I can use this source because I kind of get that person, and then kind of flush out. And even like if there are ones that you don't understand because they're too advanced, at least you kind of discover them yourself, and it's more like a natural flow into work. That's just
Yeah,
how I
yeah, I
work
agree
anyway.
with you. I agree with you. I mean, practice is the most important thing. You can watch the videos, you can read the blog posts. That's fine. You need to have some, theoretical background to understand why something works the way it works.
The
But
why?
especially in the beginning, it's rewarding when you can quickly see the results of something that
Yeah.
you done. So that's my also my advice to people. But that's a good question. That I like when people ask that, and I understand this question because there are so many resources. And just imagine someone who is just entering the world of Power BI, and
Mm.
yeah, like Google, learn Power BI. And so where should I start? I
Yeah.
mean, is it,
Yeah.
I don't know, Gynacube? Is it Italians? Is it, yeah? But there are different levels of knowledge necessary to absorb different resources.
Yeah, and this is actually Rishi. I was actually just said now, which is what I want to say. They're amazing, but as a start point, if I saw that, I'd be like terrified because they start, I would say, at like a medium level. So you need someone to kind of explain up to SQL BI, and then when you explain, then SQL BI can kind of like take you from there, you know. So yeah, it's again, it's get the learning source that kind of suits where you
Yeah.
currently are. Like I could understand a more complex learning source about M than I could DAX. Um, yes, I completely agree with this. It's a good point. If you're going to do something structured, the Microsoft
Yes.
Learning
Yes.
is
Exactly.
very, very good.
That's a great advice, Kiri. Yeah. Yeah.
Really strong point.
A lot of advancements in Microsoft Learning Pad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought that the Power BI guided learning was a really good start as well. And this, yeah, but it's a really good point. If you want to do some, I mean, again, I, I should have learned perhaps in a more structured way, which is why I end up with these gaps in your knowledge. But yeah, it's a cool point.
Yeah. Also, dashboard in
Dashboard
a
in a
day
day.
is very well, very good for starters
Yeah.
because basically in a few hours. Okay. Yeah. Ben, you also already mentioned. So in a few hours, you basically come from nothing to something. So
Yeah.
It's rewarding. It gives motivation to dig further and try to
Yeah.
become more proficient. Yeah, yeah,
And you
that's
can
also.
also dive head in that really annoying conversation about what is a dashboard and what is a report. Really get in there, and you can immediately become an obnoxious Power BI person like I am, who refuses to call it a dashboard and say no. Someone says to me, Ben, can you build me a dashboard? I was like, no, but I can build you a report. Because I'm just very just like I was on a Christmas no a summer party at work, and we'd rented a boat on going around the lake, and another team on the same company had just coincidentally also like rented a boat, and our
Hmm.
boats were literally driving past each other, and someone pointed and said, "Oh, it's the guy, it's the Power BI guy," not because of my channel, but because we work together.
You work with Power BI. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, it's that Power BI guy. And he was like, build me a dashboard. And I shouted back, it's not a dashboard, it's a report. Because I had to. I can't help myself, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll start to wrap it up a little bit because we've had our 45 minutes, which have been wonderfully good fun. Yeah, I'll say thank you very much for joining. I don't want to cut it too briefly, but it's just kind of like I
Yeah.
don't want to take up
Thanks
too
for
much of your
having me.
time.
Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure to talk with you and to see all the other people as
Yeah.
attendees. And yeah, I really really had fun.
I'm pleased you had fun. I always have a great time, a lot of fun, and the people who ask questions and get involved in the conversation, I do think they make it really enjoyable too. So thank you, mate. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And will be another one next Thursday at the same time, I believe, unless something other random Corona type thing comes up. But I don't think so at this point. I think it should be fine. And yeah, very informative, very helpful, and I shall speak to you sometime soon. And thanks, everyone. That was good fun. Have a lovely evening, day, afternoon, wherever you may be.
Thanks
All right.
everyone and enjoy Friday, Australians.
Yeah.